August 13th, 2025, and this is NDNA. The idea of moving value across blockchains once felt like you were going through the jungle or unexplored wilderness. Every time you were bridging something from point A to point B, it was that crossing of a rickety bridge or walking over that log that's fallen down. It was basically blind faith in some custodian and a contract that had already been hopefully audited. For a time, that distance between chains felt almost romantic, though. It was like a mark of Maxianism, going to like a far flung city state in an earlier age. But this was not a path to mainstream adoption. Yet, sometimes you would still have to spend your afternoon in a panic trying to find some support and likely not being able to have any help when funds didn't arrive on time across these bridges. The treacherous crossing was better known as wrapped asset bridges, and it follows a couple simple steps how it works. The user could just lock their tokens on the original chain, a multi-sig contract or some kind of oracle would now approve of that wrapping, and then an IOU would appear on the destination chain in contracts that have to live in both places. The entire SDK for these bridges is built with mint and burn logic, guardian keys, and a process that was really nebulous at best. But one could argue from a distance this design might have even seemed elegant. But when you get closer to it, you realize that a handful of private keys was guarding billions in value. Essentially, this is all one bad line of code away from ending in catastrophe. We actually saw this happen on a large scale multiple times with bridges, starting back in February 2022, when an attacker forged a single Guardian signature and siphoned almost 320 million from Wormhole's bridge. A month later, the Ronin bridge that was supporting Axie Infinity lost 625 million after validators were coerced into signing fraudulent withdrawals. While these were linked to different groups, such as like North Korea's Lazarus, at the time, each incident would send shockwaves and create distrust. And a lot of people lost a lot of real money. But beyond the theft, the other troubling part with these bridges is that even when the bridge behaved well and worked the way they were supposed to, the experience felt much closer to like filing your taxes than managing money. This is also when, even if it was not an exploit, the idea of the different arbitrages, MEV, and different economic attacks would come into play. This really made the experience poor for the user. Even if their money wasn't stolen, they were likely to lose money from high fees and other issues across these bridges. That brings us back to now, late in 2024, where there was a new perspective on this bridging paradigm. Maybe how bridges work is actually backwards. Instead of scripting how value should cross change, maybe we should let users, their apps, and even AI agents declare what outcomes they want and let a solver complete this. The idea here is that if you have an open market of solvers, let them handle the messy logistics. This is a way of basically disrupting even their own product, which is one of the safest and best bridges in all of crypto, the Rainbow Bridge through Aurora. This is such a significant opportunity, which then became called Near Intense, that is now a flagship part of the chain abstraction, part of the roadmap on Near. And the reason why this is a flagship piece of tech is that it's so simple on the surface. And intent is really just a signed JSON payload. And that really could be anything, not just financial, but that's separate. Something as simple as I'll give you 1,000 USDC on Near if someone delivers 1,000 USDC on Solana. You are then presented with the best options from the solvers, and if you confirm, once that's been broadcast, again based on the solvers who are saying they're willing to solve this for that request, you have the swap along with the cryptographic proof of that successful execution. The user doesn't have to leave their wallet. They don't have to sign into multiple wallets. They don't even need a custodial vault or any other additional piece of tech. From a news perspective, the other week, Sui came in on board as part of the intense ability to swap to USDC and some other tokens along with their native token. Now we have the announcement of Cardano also coming on to Intense as well. And that may be confusing because now you have all these different protocols. You might say, oh, you'd have to bridge now because the protocols are so different. But it's really not the case. And more importantly, when someone like Cardano comes on to Intense, it's not just about Cardano to Near. It's also about Cardano now to Sui, Cardano to ETH, Cardano to Solana. It now again becomes multi-directional in every way, and every time a new chain comes on board, it becomes exponentially uh, more attractive to users because you can go across all these different things. That is a differentiator. For builders, though, the implications are more straightforward. Instead of integrating 5 different bridges and praying they don't implode, along with trying to manage different SDKs and keeping up to date with all of that, you now simply have to just wire in your Intense SDK and focus on what your product is supposed to be doing. Then let the solver network do the rest. This is really just another win, not because it's less building for the developer, because it's less building messy infrastructure for them. The users now have a bigger payoff because you're not wrapping tokens, there's no more browser extensions, there's less opportunity for things to get stuck or whatever else. Your focus can be on the user experience as a developer, thanks to simplification and the use of near intents. I'll end with that it should get noted that bridges served as the covered wagons for crypto's frontier era, arguably a necessary step. As the larger landscape has grown, including everything that's gone wrong with the initial bridge era, it is clear near intense is in the next phase. And this is the next phase of asset swap and cross chain capabilities. This has been NDNA. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And we'll see you back here next